Some people have scars on the outside. Some people wear their scars on the inside. But every scar has a story. Every loss carries love, and every survivor holds a strength they may not realize they possess. Welcome to SOS Stories of Survivors. Hi, and welcome back to SOS Stories of Survivors. I'm your host, Serena Dansker, and today is a special episode. The episode is about fathers, because let's face it, June is the month of Father's Day. And for some women, their dads were their heroes. They were daddy's little girl. Their dad was their biggest cheerleaders. For others, their dads were absent, or they were emotionally absent, or maybe they were just downright abusive. But whatever your case is, we all have someone who represented a father figure in our lives. Either it was our mom within both roles, or it was an uncle or a family friend. So today we're here to talk about those relationships and what that all means. And joining me today is the wonderful girls of the Self-Love Club. I have Mary Gleason, Christine Johansson, Michelle Giorno, Jojo Tierney, and Eileen Carey. Welcome. And this episode is not about placing blame or anything like that. It's about understanding and healing and honoring the good and how we got through the bad times of our lives. So welcome, and we're going to get started. So let's start by talking about the elephant in the room. Was your father present in your life while you were growing up? And what was your relationship like, if so? Anybody want to begin?
Yeah, I'll start. Yeah, my dad was very present. He worked a lot during my childhood. He held 2 jobs, but on the weekends he was always around. And my dad was the dad to so many of my relatives, my cousins. His 2 sisters had husbands that separated or became single moms. And between them, they had 7 children, and my dad was the dad for all of them. Wow. And I really feel lucky that I had a dad that I could share with so many people, but still felt like my dad. Like it wasn't like he was a watered down version because he was spread out so thin. And they loved him, and they're some of my favorite people today.
Oh, that's beautiful, yeah. Mary. Really, yeah. I love that.
It's great.
Same here. My dad was present and just really straight-laced, kind of like just loving, tender, kind guy. Like he was a hard ass, but like, just that really family man, like just the protector and the storyteller. He just was always in our life, always trying to help and, be helpful wherever he can, be helpful to, and, really, had a really great impact on my life.
Oh, I love that.
It's fabulous.
Anybody else want to talk about it?
Well, yeah. Youngest of 13 here. So surprisingly, my relationship with my dad was pretty good. Being at the end, he kind of doted on me. He called me his little eye. He took me around with him. Unfortunately, he was very abusive to my mom and some of my siblings, so I saw that. So I had to do some work on dealing with that. But fortunately, we became good friends towards my later years. And when I had my own children, he was a really good grandfather. He would come over and bring pizza, and my kids ended up calling him Grandpa Pizza.
That's so funny. Oh, my God. Well, I guess I'll talk about my dad. My dad was an absentee dad. I didn't know him. I probably met him maybe once when I was a baby, and then again when I was 14 and going through that teenage identity crisis. But he was very self-centered, and when I was about 18 or 19, he wanted to get to know me. And by then it was just like I was already grown, and he had substance abuse problems. He was an alcoholic, and it wasn't appropriate the way he treated me and talked to me. So I just said to him, you know what, you haven't been part of my life my whole life, and I'm good. I don't call me, I'll call you if I need you. Things change later on, but not not too much, and we'll talk about that. How about you, Christine?
Yeah, well, I was going to add on to that. I also had an absentee dad. He was not there through the entirety of my life, as you know. So my mother and he got married when my mother was pregnant, but he was out of the house and out of my life before I was 2. And maybe I saw him twice after that. And it's just almost impossible to build a relationship at that stage. I think it was really uncomfortable for him. And the saddest thing about it is when I had to reach out to him about some health issues I was having to ask about our genes and our genealogy and heritage, he told me that his father had abandoned him as well. So he just fell victim to repeating that cycle and, just completely absent.
Wow. Wow. Well, my story's a little different. My dad was always there, but he was a really hard worker. He was a Vietnam vet, so there were a lot of times that he was emotionally absent because he was just trying to deal through all of his own trauma. He'd done 3 tours in Vietnam. He didn't talk a lot about it, but he also didn't know how to communicate with children. And so it wasn't until as I got older, my dad and I have bonded and had a better relationship. Not that it was ever like bad, it just, we actually could communicate and I didn't talk about little kid stuff.
Well, that's it. And going down this road, what is one word you would use to describe your relationship with your dad?
Sweet. Yeah, he just was a very caring dad. Always wanted to be right and involved, and he was just really sweet.
Sweet.
Well, I guess one word that pops in is the doc, because he was a doctor. And sometime one of my brothers, number 4, he decided he wanted to call my parents Joan and Jack. And my mother was fine, whatever. And my father was like, no, and I'll smack you if you call me Jack. So finally they agreed on the doc. And my father was a doctor, so it worked and it stuck.
That's
Nice,
awesome.
that's
That's
great.
awesome.
I think of ice cream. Yeah, when I think of my dad.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
I think of deadbeat.
I think of 3 words: wild, weird, and funny.
That's so funny. I think of Rolling Stone. My papa was a Rolling Stone.
Oh, yeah.
That's so funny. Has your perspective of your dad changed later in life as you look back now? And if so, how so? Eileen, yeah.
Sure. Later in my dad's life, I recognized that he was dealing with depression, anxiety, OCD, and I can see early on how those things manifested.
Wow.
Like Christine said, my parents were pregnant and they had to get married, and he kind of obsessed on that and kind of blamed my first brother. So he would obsess on that stuff. But I think now I can see him as dealing with anxieties and OCD. So I bring a little more compassion to his story.
Mary?
I got really close with my dad before he passed. We always had a really good relationship. But, when you're growing up as a woman and, venturing out on your own, it's good to have your dad's support, but sometimes you want to do things your own way.
Yeah.
So you don't always line up, but he was my, best supporter. He never questioned my decisions if it made me happy. Yeah. And he was just, I really can't say anything bad about him. He was like the best dad.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. Just to add to that, I always got jealous of girls who had really close bonds with their dad. But I will say there were a few really great memories, and my dad took me fishing once, and a little bird landed right in his lap, and he was like, psst, psst. I was like, look, and that's just, it's a special memory.
I
So,
love that.
yeah.
How about you, Christine?
My perspective has changed. I think when I was young, my mom was always angry, so I kind of was angry at him too. But once I kind of did the healing and the work and had my own kids, I just think it's so sad for him, because if he never went on to have other children or a family of his own, and the fact that he repeated the cycle, and just in this life, if you cannot love your own children, who can you love? And how incredibly sad for him, because he kind of missed the whole point.
Yeah. Jojo.
Well, my dad and I, we went from watching like cartoons together when I was a kid, to horror movies, to, softball and things like that. And then as I grew older, we had like a good adult relationship, him and my mom and my husband and I, we would like go out to dinner, and we would enjoy ourselves going out to dinner. Like, we enjoyed spending time together. So it was, a really good relationship, and, we had a good, connection. It was, he was a good guy until he went too soon.
Oh, I know. My perspective on my dad, similar to you, Christine, is like I feel bad for him. I think, as a child, I couldn't understand why he was the way he was. But, it's funny, when people pass, you kind of get to know them better than when they're alive, because he kept diaries and he kept journals of so many things. And I saw that he was so in love with my mother. And although they never had a relationship together after, I guess, I was conceived, I think he partly took it out on me, like that resentment of not being able to have that relationship with her. And although that was all, of course, wrong, I can understand now why he did the certain things he did, or why he treated me the way he treated. It wasn't about me. It was about what he wanted and couldn't have. And learning that became part of my healing process. And, his brother, my Uncle Vern, polar opposite from my dad. I got to meet him, and we'll talk more about father figures in our lives, but I always felt like, wow, I wish he was the dad that I never had, and he did take on a lot of the role. I was, of course, much older when I met him. I was in my 20s, but he was just a good person and just always present, would call me all the time. So, my perspective did change.
I think they do show resentment towards the children, like in your case, Eileen, and probably in my father's case, like wasn't his choice, and it wasn't what he wanted. And, in those days you could run from it. Nowadays, they'll literally garnish your paycheck and you're going to be responsible. Back then, they didn't. So it was constant court battles and things like that, and my mother always struggling. So I get the resentment to some extent. But again, then you need to do what you need to do to make sure you don't have kids out of wedlock.
Exactly.
So on a lighter note, my brother once asked my dad, he's like, okay, Dad, so you didn't want the first one, but what about the other 12?
I had that in my mind, too. I was like, 13 kids.
And later in life, when my dad was in his 80s, we were having one of those chats in the car, and he's reminding me that my mother was pregnant, when they got married. And I'm like, okay, Dad, so do you regret it? And he's thinking, and he's like, no, because then I wouldn't have you. So,
that's nice.
In those later years, you get those treasures, those moments.
Oh, I love that. So let's talk about what we've gained from our dads, and what qualities, or maybe what influence did your dad have on you as a child, or as you were growing up? Maybe what strengths emerged, or patterns that you've found in yourself?
Hard work.
Hard
work. Really, like, put yourself physically working. Do whatever you have to do to keep your ass moving forward.
Wow.
Yeah, like hard work, and then a lot of laughter.
Yeah.
Like really fun, engaging, but I remember just working a lot.
Yeah, my dad had such a keen work ethic. He was like a hard ass, and and he was so straight laced too. People joke calling me compliance girl, because I'm like, so we got to do it by the rules, And that's from my dad, because my dad was like, no, this is the way we got to do it, and you got to follow this and do it that way. But just his work ethic, and just his honesty. You know?
Yeah, there's one. If I could just, there's one story that just came to my head. Is my husband was power washing the backyard this morning, so the patio and everything else, and he says he walks around with stuff and he thinks of my dad all the time because half of the tools in the garage are from my father. So he would buy stuff on like Made in TV, and he'd always buy one for Mike Gleason. Got one too. Yeah, and he's always a presence in our house.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah. My dad, he taught me to embrace your dreams. He was always a dreamer. Him and my mom would talk about just these huge, big dreams. They wanted to buy land. They wanted to have a compound. They wanted to adopt a bunch of kids. And the dreams always changed and grew, but to hard work and to just believe in yourself. And that creative gene he instilled in me.
That's funny. For me, I guess it's inadvertently, but he gave me independence to learn that I can't, or I shouldn't just try and rely on, my dad or someone else, that I should rely on myself, the person that I know will always be there for me. I mean, and my
What a
mother
great lesson.
too.
What a great lesson.
Inadvertently, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share?
Well, I'll
Otherwise,
just second that. I mean, we had no choice but to be self-reliant.
yeah. So, which is, it's, what?
It does pay.
It does pay.
I'll just add one thing. Something about my dad. He was brilliant. He had this great mind, but he was always improving himself. He was always learning German. He was learning Spanish. He was learning the piano, singing. He would give me a singing lesson every time he came over. Wah, 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 wah. I don't know that it helped. He learned to fly. He had got a sailboat. So he was always improving his mind and learning. So
I love that. Sometimes our greatest strengths are born from both the love we receive and the challenges that we've overcome. And some psychologists believe that early relationships with your family and your dads can influence your choices in men later on.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I figure, I was going to ask, do you believe your relationship with your father influenced the type of partner you chose? And
Yes.
yes,
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
But he's not my dad. He's my mom.
oh,
I'm more my dad, and my husband is like my mom.
wow.
Yeah, totally. When I got your things, I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, that's really crazy. That's really crazy.
I have something to
Oh,
add
go ahead,
too. I hope it
Eileen.
didn't go out of my mind. But so my dad fooled around, all that. My parents ended up getting divorced when I was 10. And I had it in my mind that I was not going to put up for that.
Yeah.
With that, I was going to have somebody who was faithful, respectful of me. And by the grace of God, I met a really great man. John's a great husband, great father. But when my mom would be around his dad, John's dad, she'd say, you know what? You did a good job. You raised a good man. And she realized that, at least for her family and her boys, they needed a strong role model and somebody who was present to create that strong foundation.
I love that, Eileen.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's great. I think based on my choice of husband, I went entirely the opposite of my dad. My husband is like a rock. He's no matter what I say or do, he's my steady,
He is a steady.
And so I guess it did influence me because I wanted that, and that's what I looked for.
We were talking about that in the car on the way over, and I think that it has a lot of effect on you. A lot of it's subconscious. So, growing up, teenager, 20s, you're going to seek male attention in all the wrong ways, right?
Right.
And, that's just par for the course and part of the growing pains. But without realizing it, I chose just a wonderful man who was a great father, and he took great care of me. And I didn't purposely go out to a bar to see a band and look for a man that night who would be that. But somehow, 28 years later, 3 kids later, and he was always there. So I have to think that subconsciously I was looking for someone, like you said, who would be there, who would be faithful, who would be a loving dad, and who would be my rock.
That's beautiful.
When I met Sean, I didn't know he was going to be the talker that he is, the storyteller that he is, because that's my dad. My dad was just the talker, the storyteller, and and the grill master. Barbecuing, grilling, and so that's Sean. So I'm like, oh my God! When I saw him, and he kidnapped me from that graduation party. Who knew what it would be? But yeah, he is just so much in line with how my dad was.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
For me, just because I felt like my dad wasn't emotionally present, my husband, he's such a rock. And I think it's probably, a little bit of the opposite. He gave me security, safe. I always felt very safe, or I do, with my husband. But it's funny how sometimes your husband is a little bit like your dad's. I've heard that. And, but in all the best ways.
Well, that's good. No, it's true. I mean, I think as we sometimes see parts of our dads in our husbands, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, but how have you learned through your journey and through life that you deserve to have someone that loves you and adores you and takes care of you, like your husbands have, like in the relationship that you're in, and how has that influenced your choice of partner, I guess? So for me, I never felt worthy of love. I always, would think that no guy is based on my dad, no guy's going to stick around, so I would push them away. And as much as I pushed Brad away, he just kept coming back. I used to smoke cigarettes. I'm like, if you want a girl that doesn't smoke, honey, go find someone else. He's like, no, I'm good with it. I'm living in California. You're in Jersey. How is that going to work out? He's like, I'll fly out there. We'll figure it out. And that kind of thing is, I guess, it's made me realize that if somebody really loves you, they'll go to any extreme to make that, and take care of you. And I find that just beautiful.
Well, that's why they say what is meant for you will arrive in clarity and not confusion. And I always try to remember that. Like if someone really loves you, you feel it to your core, and you know it's there from the beginning.
It's beautiful. And I think sometimes we make the wrong decision. Sometimes we choose the wrong man, and that happens a lot.
Got to kiss a lot of frogs before you meet the prince.
Well, there's things there. There's lessons to be learned there. And so I guess, how does self-love, and since we are the self-love club, how does that come into when you are in a bad relationship out there? How does that help influence you or give you the courage or the strength to stand up for yourself, to end that relationship, or to stop being in a situation where the cycle is starting to repeat? Because like you said, Christine, your dad, he did the same thing his dad did, and you didn't marry a man like your dad, thank God, where this cycle would repeat. So how did your self-worth or your self-love help you weed out the wrong characters, I guess?
Yeah, well, when you were saying before, sometimes we marry our fathers, sometimes we marry the opposite of our fathers. And the same goes for men. I've seen a lot of my male friends marry their mother. I've seen a lot of my male friends marry the opposite of their mother. So, I went through a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of abusive relationships, but one or two that were borderline abusive, and just something in me said, oh no, this isn't sitting, I'm not staying around for this. Like I just innately had fight in me and just wouldn't stick around for that type of, I don't want to say abuse, but lack of love, lack of respect, and just knowing, I think it comes from within you. I can't say your parents give it to you. I don't. That's my experience. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I can add to that. I've been engaged 4 times. All of you guys are one and done. No. I engaged twice to the same person, but did not marry that one.
That's so funny.
one of the things you had talked about earlier, because I had gone through so much trauma when I was young, and my dad had gone through so much trauma being a Vietnam vet and other aspects of what his childhood, he didn't know how to help me. And it was more of a man up, be tough, get over it. Not because he didn't care, but I think it hurt him so much. It was just easier to just say, you gotta like let it go.
Wow.
Honestly, letting go and forgiving has been the most healing thing for me. But I always felt like it was so insensitive. But I guess where that comes, where was I going full circle?
Before
Self-love.
Self-love. So then, like, it took me years. I felt unworthy of love because of my trauma. And, but I've grown. I think age helps. But I wish my younger self had known, to have boundaries, create healthy space for yourself. And before you get into a relationship, what are your, this is what I'm not going to tolerate, or this is what I need.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to teach my daughter, make sure that whoever you're in this relationship with adds value to your life and doesn't take away from who you are, or that you don't try and change for them.
Exactly.
You
That's
know?
how I feel. You got to find someone who sees that value in you, and you have to know you have value yourself.
Yes.
And then bring it out in each other. Like when Sean and I connected, he really brings out the best in me, and I hopefully bring out the best in him. But I wasn't as, open and chatty as, when I first met him. I was had more walls than he did. So, and he helped break down some of my walls. And, I think I'm a little more interactive and friendly than I used to be. But, that really made a big difference, finding someone that I connected with that, helped me be a better me.
Yeah. Eileen?
Well, I mean, self-love is a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
At least it has been for me. And I'm speaking into my mic. For myself and my husband, we share faith, a very strong faith. And that is a really good foundation for us and for our family. And, I have my tenets that keep me healthy. My faith is one of them. I like to practice yoga and meditation. I like to get out in nature to walk and hike. I like to journal. So these are things that I need to stay healthy. And, just creating more positive self-speak, more affirmations.
And just having that connection is what helped you choose John versus some other guy that wasn't worthy of you.
Exactly. We're not talking about them here, though, are we?
No, that'll be a topic.
Thank
another
you
episode.
for bringing that around. Yeah, faithfulness, faith in God, and faith in
Relationships.
All right,
relationships.
let's go back to the dads. Okay, for those of us who've lost our dads, if you had your father here today, what would you say to him?
Thank you.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
agree.
and I missed you.
Thank you for everything you did.
Eileen?
So my mom always said I chose her to come on this spiritual level. And I realized I chose him too.
Yeah.
I chose him to be my father. I chose exactly who he was. So I know that he's up there. Serena and I, we always talk about our psychic experiences and such. But my father came through a medium once and she said, he is celebrating your son. My son is off living his dream, buying property in Hawaii. And my father was just celebrating him because he didn't get to do that. He sacrificed, his bigger dreams to raise the family.
Wow.
So I say thank you.
I don't think I would say thank you, but I think I would say I forgive you.
Yeah.
Because I
Same.
do. And I think it's not really about him that I'm forgiving him. It's more for me because it helps me heal to know that whatever transpired in his life and how he treated me, it's a journey. And that was part of his journey. And I can forgive him because I guess I was strong enough, or maybe I had to learn how strong I was. And I guess I could say thank you I guess I could,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Say thank you to you.
Yeah, that too. Thanks, Mary.
And they gave us life.
Yes,
Yeah.
well,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
true.
They gave us
You know
life.
what? That's true.
But
We're all
thank
here
you for
because of 'em.
bringing up
Yeah.
forgiveness, because that's huge.
Oh my gosh.
And that's it gives us peace.
Yeah.
Right?
It does. But let's, take this a step further. What advice would you give a woman who's still healing from her relationship with her dad? Anybody?
One of the things that I've found is just having this group of women is amazing and supportive, and you're all wonderful individuals that bring something different to my life. So just know that with time,
Yeah.
everything gets a little bit easier,
Yeah.
and your friends are always there for you.
I love that, Mary. That's
Amen.
so well said.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, healing doesn't always bring reconciliation.
No.
Sometimes it just brings self-awareness of who you are and what you deserve. And sometimes the best course of action is to walk away from the relationship if it's not serving you, because there's no need to be around toxic people, I think.
I think that's where I'm at. Like, no, I'm not going to say thank you. No, I'm not going to say I forgive you when it comes to my dad, but I release you.
Yeah.
Like whatever karma you had and whatever karma I had, because, there's the philosophy we choose our own family before birth and we have life lessons to learn. I learn them. Release you, and good luck on your journey.
That's beautiful.
Maybe you release yourself a little bit with that too.
Yeah. Hope so.
Yeah, I
The
think
darker
so.
side to that is I always tell people, I wish you tenfold.
I hope you get what you deserve.
This is why we love
Like
each
I
other.
said, everybody's unique.
Oh my gosh. All right. So let's try and do a little lightning round here. Complete the sentence. My father taught me.
Resilience.
Whoa, that's a good one.
I'll say the meaning of family.
Yeah. Trust yourself.
Perseverance.
My father taught me what I didn't want in a man.
And that's a valuable lesson, unfortunately.
I know. How about one thing I wish my father knew is?
Cancer sucks. I wish he was here.
Eileen?
How rich his life was, and it wasn't about dollars and cents. It was about the love that he had from my mother, from my siblings.
I think I wish my father knew how lucky he was with me and my two half sisters, and just to have embraced that.
Yeah.
One thing I wish my dad knew is that healing could have been such a game changer for him. His masculinity and just, I'm a tough man, persona kept him from seeking healing, and it just pains me to see him hurting.
Love that.
I wish my dad knew that he should have used more sunscreen.
Oh no, honey.
Yeah, he was love the beach and never used sunscreen.
Did he die of skin cancer?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have to say, I wish my father knew the importance of family.
Yeah,
And he
I
didn't,
know.
so it's sad for him.
It is. It's true. And how about the greatest lesson that I've learned about love is?
Sacrifice.
Balance.
Yeah, balance. That's a good one. I'm thinking that you have to love yourself before you can love anyone else.
And I'm thinking there's always enough love to go around. There is
Aw.
no limit.
It's because you're 13.
I think support, even when you disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the last one. The woman I am today is.
Are you surprising us with these questions?
I didn't research this one.
These are part of the lightning round. So the woman I am today is grateful, I think.
The
I'm just
woman I
grateful.
am today is stronger than I thought I could be.
I love that.
The woman I am today is still trying to figure it out.
The woman I am today is a badass.
The woman I am today is grateful, blessed, and just appreciative of all you ladies.
Strong and powerful and grateful.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. And for those of us who have sons who may or may not one day become fathers, or how do we help our young men become the men or the people we admired as young? And yes, I'm springing this on you because it just came to my mind. I'm like,
Sure.
so many of us have, who have children, or even godchildren or nephews. I think I know my husband sets a great example for my son that's living, and he set a great example for Scotty too. Just on how to be a good person, a good friend, and conscientious of the people that they're around. Anybody else want to?
Well, words of wisdom my dad always put out were always have an alternate route. He's good about having alternate routes for everything. And get to where you're going safely. And then if you can't be good, be careful.
Nice.
That's a listen to
Words of wisdom, we'll come back to that. I think by having a strong father figure, in my husband, and we were dedicated to our family, we instilled a sense of faith, and they explore their own spirituality, and they're free to do that. But they're adults now, and they have thanked us and my husband too for, hey, doing a good job.
That's so nice.
Anybody else?
I was lucky my dad was really close distance-wise, so my kids got to spend a lot of time with him. And my son Colin has that, lovely softness about him that I think comes from my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think my husband was a great example to my son, and now that he's passed, I think my son will work even harder to kind of fill his shoes or to make him proud. And I hope in the best possible way.
Yeah.
I got emotional about the whole healing thing, but what's so beautiful is sometimes the pain that we go through, it really impacts us as parents, because I've taught my son that going to therapy is okay. And I sent him a text yesterday and I said, I'm just so proud of you. And little Michelle could have learned so much by you and the way he embraces his authenticity, who he is. He's so confident. I'm still learning so much, but it's the lack that I didn't have with my dad setting that example. But because of my mom, I learned, and I was able to give that on to Curran. So just keep on keeping on, Curran.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And whether your father was present, loving, or complicated, living or gone, your worth has never been defined by someone else's ability to love you. Today, we've honored the fathers that have showed up, the father figures who stepped in, the women who became both the mother and the father for us, and also the women we've become who found the strength through adversity or through love or however we've gotten here. But you women are all strong, and our stories matter, and your stories matter too. And just please remember that you are worthy of love, respect, and the kind of passion and affection that you want. I want to thank you, ladies, for joining me today. And I just want to talk about my son Scotty's poem. As you guys know, I always close the episode with one of his poems. And Scott had a way of healing as well. He liked to break away from technology, and one of the ways that worked for him was through summer camp. He used to do a sleepaway camp for, I don't know, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks during every summer. And it was the happiest time of this kid's life where he could heal. And he wrote a poem about it. And he wrote, it's called Camp. And he wrote, "As I look around myself, I feel so compelled to smile and hug. The vibrations and energy coming off others, causing a chain reaction that factions the results of happiness. Happiness is different for everyone and anyone, but all people conjugate you the source of power that people associate. Love, kindness, smiles, and hugs, even though there are so many bugs. Camp is a place where anyone can be anything, but most are true to themselves. Camp is a place where people's true colors are shown, where people accept others for who they are, not who they know. Camp is a place to learn from others and not just stick to yourself. The concept of acceptance is easy to grasp, but not to execute. Most people just reboot, go back to the lines that society draws for them. Most people can't comprehend how a few nice words can mend a broken soul that almost feels off the deep end. Can't people know this? And now you do too. Spread the word to stop the impending doom that so many souls see too soon."
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay, Scotty.
Thank
We
you.
love you,
Yeah.
Scotty. We love you, Serena.
Oh my God. Thank you guys. And thank you to all of the gentlemen out there who take on taking care of the younger people and being those role models that they so desperately need. And if you're struggling, please reach out, get help. There is a mental health hotline now. It's 988. And it's a great number, a great asset to have that we didn't have when we were kids. So feel free to use that. And until next time, this is SOS Stories of Survivors, where survival sparks the soul. We'll see you soon.